The Dakar Rally of 2026 presented us with various different stories and narratives, some of which stood out more than others. Here are the things that decided how the rally was won. In one case, there was just sheer pace. If you look at the win in the bikes, it went down to 2 seconds at the end, the closest to Dakar history. 49 hours of competitive action, and it all comes down to 2 seconds. Luciano Benavides won 3 of the 13 tests this year. Ricky Brabec won 2 of them. They were able to be up at the front throughout. When their rivals ran into trouble, they ended up being the people who picked up the pieces from it. And for their rivals, the likes of Edgar Canet and Tosha Sharena ended up being rapid in their own rights. 3-stage wins each as well. It was just one issue, or 2 issues, or 3 issues that ended up hurting their runs. A bit like when you look at Michael Doherty in the Rally 2 class. Went another year without the win. Edgar Canet took it last year, and then when it came to this year, again, it wasn't to be. It ended up going to Tony Mulek. So it stayed within KTM, but in both those bike categories, and also in the original by Motul, KTM may have won it, but it was not an easy fight. They had to fight tooth and nail. Their competitors had to fight tooth and nail at every single attempt to fend off the Hondas. It's brilliant for bikes because, I mean, when I first got into the Dakar, you just had the 2 different KTM teams. You had Golar and Repsol. When you look at the cars as well, there is an element of that too. But part of it with the win comes in another part that we'll talk about in a moment. But when you look at Matthias Ekstrom, 4-stage wins even on this year. There were some people who had rotten luck here or there, but overall, Ekstrom, had fantastic running pace, and that's why he gets the podium. Likewise, when you have a look at SSVs, it's more sheer just domination by Brock Hager. There's no other way of saying it. It is domination. But then at the same time, perseverance and just sticking to it, not setting the stage times alight, is something that stands out as well. Vaidota Jala is arguably the person who would stand out most for that, because when you look at the trucks category, Jala won 1 test, stage 7, but you would have thought it would be the Czech drivers like Lepry or Maciek who were going to be up at the front. Mitchell van den Brink had some great running as well, and the Hoosings themselves picked up a scratch each. But Jala, who has just been there or thereabouts in each of his various Dakar appearances, he just, when his rivals ran into trouble or picked up penalties, didn't have any of that, and ends up picking up a trophy as a result. Though, whilst I said he was a headline one, the most extreme example of it is in the T3s, the Challenger class, because Pau Navarro, who won the Challenger T3s, did not pick up a single scratch in the event. Kevin Benavides, brother of the bike champion and a double bike champion in his own right, picked up, 3 different scratches. Nico Cavaglasio, who, with his wife Pertcarini alongside, ended up with a couple as well, but they ran into issues. Paul Klassen, the same. Paul Spearing's the same. But in the end, Pau Navarro ends up taking the win, despite the fact that it wasn't a single stage win in the end, though the winning margin was over 20 minutes at the end of it all. And it's something that we could also say for the car class. Nasser Al-Attiyah has set some more records in the Dakar, but in this edition, he only won 2 stages. Stage 6 and Stage 12. He was just dependent, reliable, consistent. He was the only Dacia to pick up stage wins as well, in an event where we saw a handful of wins for Toyota, a couple of wins for the X-Raid or for the Fords. I think Ford ended up with the most wins this time around. We even had a stage win for the Century, with Mathieu Serradori getting his first stage win since 2020. But Nasser Al-Attiyah ended up with the trophy again. A 6th title, 3rd in Saudi Arabia. So that's third in, the past 7 attempts. There's a reason why he's known as a legend in the Dakar Rally, and he's making it clear again here. But yes, like I mentioned, it is a Dakar in which records have been broken and records have been matched. Ricky Brybeck was hoping to match Richard Sankt's 3 Dakar wins, but in the end stays at 2 with Kevin Benavides as Luciano picks up his first crown. I think it's the first for siblings to win different Dakar editions in the category, if not outright for the Dakar Rally. We don't have anybody currently sat in the top 10 for stage wins who is active in the Dakar. We also don't have a new record in terms of things like most stage wins for the bikes in a Dakar. And then when it comes to the car category, Nasser Al-Attiyah is now on 6 wins. He's 2 behind the number of car titles that Petter Hansel has. Remember, Petter Hansel has 8 on car and 6 on a bike. So I don't think Al-Attiyah will be catching that anytime soon, but he could get a 7th next year if he so wished. He's now even further clear of Ari Vatanen and Carlos Sainz, who are both on 4. And in terms of stage wins, the 2 that he won this year puts him on 50 stage wins overall, tied with Petter Hansel and Vatanen for the most stage wins in Dakar history. That is a big deal, especially because you used to have more specials at some point in the past for the Dakar as well. Carlos Sainz is on 42, and he's the next one down that pecking order. It's a brilliant run for Al-Attiyah as well, because he's now matched Petter Hansel's record for most podiums in the car category. He's got 12 podiums, same as Petter Hansel, with Petter Hansel having 8 wins, 2 seconds and 2 thirds. Al-Attiyah, 6 wins, 5 seconds and 1 third. It's just really well done in the end by Al-Attiyah for that one, especially because, like I said, only 2 stage wins on it. It wasn't the most dominant of victories, but it was a convincing victory nonetheless. And it's even convincing by nationality. I think I got this wrong in my video for stage 13, because I remembered that Rokas Baciuska had been a world champion. I got it wrong. I thought that he'd won the Dakar before, but there's been no Lithuanian drivers to win the Dakar before, and yet this year, 2026, we had 3 separate categories for which the winning driver, and in cases as well, the winning crew, in 2 of the cases, were Lithuanian. The stocks for Rokas Baciuska and for Defender. Vaidotas Žala with an international crew in the trucks. And then an all-Lithuanian team in the classics of Karolis Raisis. So we've ended up with so many things being set, records being broken, new ground being broken. It's been generally a pretty good Dakar rally. But if you've been following the Dakar this year, what has stood out for you? Let me know that in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching and joining as always. Thank you so much for your continued support. I will be covering other rounds of W2RC this year on the channel, but the main things I'm turning my attention to now are IMSA for the Daytona 24 and the WRC, because Rally Monte Carlo starts in just a few days' time. Right, till next time, folks, it's bye-bye for now.